And for the next session, may I please invite Ms. Vandana Seth, Vice President Legal at Tata 1MG. The topic of her speech is the digital healthcare in India, regulatory framework. Please give her a big hand.
So quickly starting, just one word that comes to the mind, or few words that come to the mind when it comes to digital health. Anyone wants to give a try? I want to connect with all of you because after lunch it's going to be, yeah, please.
Yeah, healthcare services have been converted from comprehensive manual things to the machines or some other artificial intelligence is involved.
Correct. Any more tries, please? Anyone other than, like, from Indian aspect, other than non-Indian aspect, if we can cover, what's the thought that comes? So just simplifying it, it's just merging the healthcare segment, which has always been an important segment for all of us. It's not something today or tomorrow, it's been like ages. Healthcare has been a critical part for all of us. And integrating healthcare with technology has been an important aspect. And if we just talk about COVID times, healthcare technology, that is, health tech has played a very important role. I think we agree that because during the COVID time, the tech was the support, I think, that has helped us all reaching the medical supplies, or whether it was vaccinations or anything to do with the healthcare at home easily. So I'll just quickly start. So digital health in India, to be true, it's not defined anywhere. It's just bringing various laws together. We pick up the different aspects with different regulations, and then this is how we define and bring together the regulations for digital health together. Government in 2015 has started with certain aspects wherein to reach the supply of medicines to the rural areas. 2017, the government made further efforts, and I think since 2015 that efforts were started, so it was an advantage to us during the COVID difficult times that we had the processes in place to meet around. So what are the regulations that are applicable? So starting with, when it comes to healthcare, can I just, it will be helpful if you can just have it an interactive session, please. Sorry, I'll be bothering you all with my questions. When it comes to healthcare, what is the first thing that comes to mind? For example, it will be medicines. Other than medicines, what are the other aspects that comes to mind? Procedures, like surgeries and all? Correct. And what else? Please, any try. Lab test, correct. And what else? Sensitive topic, sorry, not touching it around. I know it's a closed room, but let's not touch. Being our own self, we are professions, so let's respect everyone's profession now. So what else comes to the mind other than, I think we covered medicines, we covered surgeries, we covered lab test. What else? Diagnostic lab test, yeah. What else? Consults. Like now, initially we used to do like OPD consults, going to a clinic or going to a hospital. Now we have the point of getting online and doing consults. Telemedicine guidelines have been, like in Hindi we say, Vardhan to us at the time of COVID. Correct? What else comes to the mind? Yeah, I'll touch upon this. Lot of information about healthcare. Initially, what was the process? We used to go to a doctor, we used to get a consult done, come take medicines, talk about it at few people at home, may or may not be. But now, if we have started Googling a lot of information about it, we all have become self-aware about. Before going to a doctor or after coming back from a doctor, we do a lot of research around it. So health data has played a very important role. So just coming back to the regulations, because it's a legal conference, so I'll just go with some legal aspects here. Drugs cosmetics is an important aspect which talks about how the medicines will be bought, how it will be sold around, and whether online recognition has been there to the supply of medicine. Answer is no. It's not restricted, but it's not been acknowledged. So what happened with respect to that? Indian government came up with e-pharmacy rules. There are still rules at stage, and even the act has also come into the revision. It's a bill, but it's yet to be notified. So this is with respect to the supply of drugs. as everyone mentioned about doctors, sir, you specifically mentioned that doctors make a lot of money around, etc. There are regulations, which is National, hope I'm audible, National Medical Commission Act around with the rules there. They are being proposed for revision in 2022 now. And whatever was the way, whether they can advertise, what are the services that they can provide, etc., everything is covered under these regulations, but they are yet to be notified. Then there are telemedicine guidelines, as I referred, which is about the e-consult. Then Drugs and Magical Remedies Act, that whether we can advertise about a medicine or not, what is the level of information that can go in form of a poster, whether it's a digital marketing, etc., with respect to drugs. Then clinical establishment, what does it regulate? It regulates how a clinic is going to work, how a hospital is going to work, how a laboratory is going to work, where testing and all that happens. Then Consumer Protection Act, very important, because that's one which notifies how an e-commerce website is going to work. Because when we are selling medicine online, whether we are telling test or any other service online, it has to be governed by e-commerce policies. Then yesterday, I think in the session, it was also referred, draft digital personal data protection bill, because whatever is the health data, it's very important for all of us, whatever is the health data, it's the personal sensitive information. So it cannot be passed on, it has to be between the customer or a doctor or between a lab and all. Platform also can use the information only for the purpose of that particular transaction. So personal sensitive information is very important, and that's where it's coming from, the draft digital personal data protection bill. It is also a bill yet to be notified. What is existing regulations right now with respect to the same? It's the IT Act and Information Technology Reasonable Security Practice and Processes, which talks about what is a personal information and what is a sensitive personal information. Anything to do with the healthcare data, it's a personal sensitive information, and all the companies and all the other people dealing in the data needs to be very sensitive about how this data needs to be handled, how it can be used, what is the retention around it. So we need to have retention policies that for how long we need to keep this data, etc. So this is on the regulation part. Just to make it a little interesting, I'll just try to cover something what my company does and how we just put that gyan into some practical aspect and how just put that knowledge here. So as a website, as I told you, what are the services that get when you bring healthcare to a digital platform. So this is like 4 segments. I put what are the services that you get online. You get a lot of content. When you say, people initially used to understand what is diabetes. Just, it's the sugar level is high, it's diabetes. There are types of diabetes, what you need to do exactly in the diabetes, what are your precautions, when you need to take your medicines, etc. What are the substitutes that you can work around with? That comes in the content. Then about pharmacy, where you can order your medicines. Then it's about lab test. Which lab test has been used for what? Because initially what used to happen, doctor used to mention the name of the lab also itself on it, and these are the tests, and used to just go blindly there, pay and get it done. This all information helps you understand why this test has been done, what happens if the range is beyond a point, etc. Then it's about consultation. Consultation helps you without going to a doctor, asking the doctor at the home that you do a telemedicine consultation, or you can do an e-consult, you can get your prescriptions online. That is what exactly the platform helps you, sitting at home, bringing all the healthcare services for you at one place. Other than there have been various segmented, like there have been robot-assisted surgeries which are happening. There are a lot of self-monitoring devices which are coming, like we all have smartwatch nowadays. There are health services aggregators who help you get everything, like from an insurance, starting from a point of an insurance to your claim, to your surgery, to everything comes at one platform. And then mHealth, which is in mobile health, wherein there are a lot of apps that you can download and get a lot of information around it. So since in the limited time, I just tried covering one of the models, that how the regulations work in that model. Specifically in the start, I mentioned, in India, there is nothing, what is digital health? There is no one statute which covers it. There are different segments that needs to be covered. So I tried covering one for everyone, which is upon e-pharmacy. So what happens in an e-pharmacy model? Anyone can explain me what does an e-pharmacy means? What are the... Correct. So when we are selling medicines online, it's what are the views that everyone has. For example, Tata 1mg is an online platform, correct? So who is selling? Is Tata 1mg selling or someone else selling or both of them are selling? What are the perspective that everyone has? Yeah, so correct. When we say that Amazon is a marketplace model, that's correct, wherein there are different vendors that get listed on Amazon and they make the transaction. And the reason behind this, anyone can tell me what is the reason why Amazon is not making the sale and why the vendors are making the sale on the platform? Correct, because of the FDI restriction. FDI, 100% FDI is allowed in the marketplace model, and there are restrictions on the e-commerce model that we can't do retail, whether it's online or whether it's offline if you have FDI. So same ways, if we talk about the marketplace model, I've tried depicting the marketplace model here in an e-pharmacy structure, wherein 100% FDI is allowed. What happens? There is a platform is a marketplace platform. By what regulation is platform being governed? Platform is governed by IT regulations that I covered before, and also by FDI press note. Followed with what does platform do? Platform is only taking and receiving and passing the orders. They are not processing the orders. And hence, they are not doing any transaction that is required under Drugs Cosmetics Act for them to take a license. Hence, platform don't own any license at this point of time. Who is actually making the sale? There are vendors, and that vendors are licensed pharmacies who are making the sale on the platform. So they get listed, they pay commission or facilitation fee, whatever terminology we want to use, to the platform for listing their products and selling it. So under Drugs Cosmetics, you need a license to do what? You need a license to buy a medicine, to manufacture a medicine, to sell a medicine, whether you sell it wholesale or you sell it retail. For that perspective, you need a license, and there are licensed vendors who get registered on the platform, and they only dispense the medicine and they only issue the invoices. So hence the sale is being done by the licensed pharmacy. And then the medicine reaches the customer. In that case, FDI policy allows certain aspects to the platform, like they can provide warehousing services, they can provide delivery services. So hence, delivery can be undertaken by the platform on behalf of the customer or on behalf of the vendor, whatever the case may be. So this is on the regulatory framework with respect to e-pharmacy. I think if you try replicating the same with respect to sale of diagnostic tests, there is no restriction at all. In that case, the platform plays the same role. In case of licensed pharmacy, you can just replace it with any of the NABL or non-NABL accredited labs, whatever the labs wants to be listed on the platform, and then the lab performs the test and issues the invoice to the customer. This is how the structure works for with respect to the lab. Any questions on this specific point, how the structure works? So just asking now, how will an e-consult model work on this? If a doctor is there, if I want to do a consult on this structure, what will be different in that scenario? Or we can do the doctor consult directly. So what is your understanding? Are doctors on payroll of Practo, or they are like vendors on Practo model, or how does it work? So you're saying it works in the marketplace structure only? Okay. Any different?
Like Amazon, I'm vendor registered over there and just you have to see.
Okay. Any other views? Thank you. Any other views? You want to give a try because you were referring something about FDI. It's to do with something on FDI. No. So licensed pharmacy, the vendors are actually registered on the platform, and what is the definition of a marketplace? Where you have to connect the platform which connects the vendor with the customer. So vendor should have a license, and all is upon them from the India statute, nothing to do with the FDI regulations at all. The company which is getting an FDI, for example, Tata 1mg is a platform in which has FDI. My role is to provide a platform and to do a requisite due diligence under the IT Act. That's my role. Yeah, please. So currently in the Tata 1mg model, since Tata is an Indian entity, so we are now an IOCC, so we can do sales also and we can do marketplace also. So, but I was trying to explain the marketplace model because that's not the model in itself in the legal regime right now. So I didn't want to make it a Tata 1MG presentation, so that's the reason. Yeah, just to answer everyone the question on the e-consult, there are mixed views on consultation. Let me tell you why. Because when it comes to consultation, consultation are also categorized as healthcare services. In services, it's 100% FDI, which is allowed. So in case of marketplace model, you can do consult from a marketplace model also, and you can do consults from this. Rather than removing the licensed pharmacy, platform itself can also provide the bills to the customer directly because it's services. They can put doctors as consult, they can put doctors as consultants or freelancers, etc., and they can provide services to the customer directly. Just some basic slide. What does it help if you go online? It helps you with delivery of medicines at home. You can book tests from home. It brings a lot of customer centricity. You are just a call away at the call center from the customer, explain them how to place an order, etc. It has helped many of the elderly people at the time of COVID because the children and all that were sitting abroad, and it helped the parents to place their order online or them to place an order on behalf of their parents, etc. Consulting a doctor from home rather than going to the clinics, etc. Getting vaccinations at home. It helps you to verify your medical advice. It helps you to provide safety and security because if you go to an offline store compared to an online store, the level of data management which is there in an online transaction is much more than an offline transaction. Tell me, please. Chemist, yeah. They don't have? Yeah, Noble Plus is a brand, yes, sir.
They have their own app. What is I mean, I can through that app, book it and it comes to my house.
Yeah.
So what is it additionally?
So when you go to them, what you get is only the medicines there, correct? Here on the platform, it's an integrated platform. From your lab, from the medicines that you are taking. For example, you may have a chronic patient at home. A lot of people are diabetic right now. A lot of people have heart diseases right now. For a diabetic patient, it's recommended that you every 3 months you should get your sugar and full body checkup, or 6 months around the line. You get your full body checkups done. So
I'm not on the checkup side. I'm not on the checkup side.
you're saying, yeah, tell me please.
Marketplace, when I'm buying medicine, let's say that, I don't need to go for a medical checkup immediately.
Sure.
I just want to buy some medicines and, sitting in my cozy comfort, I just want to order because yesterday night when I came from the office, I was delayed and so I didn't go. And, therefore in the night I do it and the early morning 7 o'clock just deliver to you because it is 24/7 they do it.
Sure.
So on that aspect, I'm not on the, even most of the, what do you call, pathology labs also have their app, because
Sure.
you do it immediately, they come. So why should I go to an intermediary when they themselves have a
Yeah, so correct. See, I'll tell you what, sir. It's not an legal answer to this question, to be very true. The question is not, it's a little commercial in nature, to be true there. The point is, it's always at the customer discretion that which website they want to choose, because it's about the faith that you build with a brand. In this online space, to be true, I am in this space, there are a lot of counterfeits, there are a lot of discounting aspects, there are a lot of delivery aspects, and which are the brands that you give? Because lot of, just not questioning anyone's commercial aspect there, lot of pharmacy shop, if you don't get a brand, they will help you with substitution. But however, if you go by law, the substitution is not an aspect, correct? So in the scenario, it's all the customer choice. There are parameters that you want to compromise on, or the parameters that you want to uphold while making a choice. It's something today you want to do a shop from Amazon or you want to do it from Flipkart, it's your choice altogether. So
leave apart all these things. What I need to get is that when I go through a digital platform and
yeah.
intermediary like this or anyone else, I should have some commercial benefit in that. The discount, if I go to Noble Plus direct app, will be 10%, or they also give 10% discount. And if I go through it, I should get at least 10.25%.
There are more discounts than the other pharmacies, that's true.
That makes me happy.
Yeah, yeah. I told you, discount is one of the parameters or delivery timing. It's up to the customer. Like you wanted like 7 hours, and you may sacrifice on the discount at that point of time because you need an early delivery. Sometimes you have time, you may not sacrifice on discounts. It's a choice.
Have what do you call a false feeling or whatever it is that I'm ordered through the app which is Tata, so that brand sells and therefore in the delivery.
So that's very important.
And
Yeah.
that also adds.
Yeah, because see, when you go with these brands, sir, the fact that you get is they are directly impaneled with the pharma brands. Because not for the project of pharmacy, there are other projects. For example, I can talk about 1mg. We do around 70 plus patient support programs for all the top pharma companies. It's nothing to do with online space. It is a cancer medicine which is like 5 lakh rupees plus, the 3 vaccines that has to be given in a daycare if you are under a chemo. We handle all that stuff for them. So you have a direct privy to the pharma companies from that perspective. So
So that I have a feeling that if at all anything happens, they will return the goods or whatever.
yeah, the return refund policies are quite,
Like Amazon,
yeah.
return policy is there. Now I'm not bothered about whether it comes from Timbuktu, but the only thing is I'm only bothered about Tata F1.
A very important aspect, sir, is that we have been taking care of like cold storage network also, like vaccines and all that medicine, the temperature that they have to come and they have to be safe. People don't maintain that also, but for us, we have ISO specifically on that. So there are other aspects, I think, wherein the brand it still plays a very important role rather than saying. Sir, a corporate lawyer is a merge of a business and legalities. So I think here we end it. Any questions, any queries? Hope it was not boring after lunch. Good. Thank you, everyone. Thanks.